friends, fans, that one guy I saw pooping in a urinal at a 7-Eleven. There comes a time in a man's life when he has to do something he really doesn't want to do. But since that man is an idiot and he decided to commit to something, it leaves that man no choice but to review one of the worst SpongeBob episodes of all time. That episode being Truth or Square. I remember when this episode first aired in November 2009. It was meant to celebrate SpongeBob's 10th anniversary, even though it happened months after the actual anniversary. It was the show's second hour-long special, the first being Season 5's Atlantis SquarePants. The commercials promised things such as the wedding of SpongeBob and Sandy, and the Krabby Patty secret formula finally being revealed. And there were tons of celebrities involved, such as Tina Fey, Will Ferrell, and Robin Williams. Fans and critics hated this episode, regarding it as one of the worst episodes in the show's history. So, what went wrong? Why is this episode so despised to the point where Nickelodeon basically had to remake it 10 years later? Well, strap in, folks, because this is Truth or Square. We open on Ricky Gervais narrating Patchy clips. Badly.
Yeah, it's 10 years ago. It's 10 years ago.
We'll talk about Patchy later. Just wait. Just wait. The episode is about the 117th anniversary of the Krusty Krab. And already we're facing massive problems. You see, Mr. Krabs came up with the Krabby Patty when he was a kid. So, are you telling me that he's over 117 years old? That's not even a real number! What, you couldn't make the Krusty Krab's 20th or 30th or even 50th anniversary? I mean, Mr. Krabs is pretty old, so it's not unlikely that he's that old. Anyway, Krabs informs SpongeBob and Squidward that this is the perfect day for Plankton to steal the secret formula. So he tells them to keep an eye out, and that he hired Patrick as a security guard. Yeah, I can tell you from experience that Patrick is the worst guy to guard anything. Okay, Patrick, I'm gonna head to the bathroom real quick. And while I'm there, I need you to make sure the dog doesn't eat my lunch. Can you do that? Oh, sure. Alright, see you in a bit. You freaking fat ass! This point of the episode brings us to one of its worst aspects, the flashbacks. They're entirely pointless, come right the freak out of nowhere, and are clearly just here to fill time. Oh, and Plankton's trying to steal the formula. While getting a giant Patty statue out of the freezer, don't ask, they managed to get themselves locked in the freezer. So now SpongeBob and the gang have to find their way out in time for the anniversary, and dozens of pointless flashbacks await. In fact, let's talk about these flashbacks. Let's back up to the beginning of the episode where SpongeBob eats from his umbilical cord. How the hell is he still alive? Another method this episode uses to pad out the runtime is songs. A day like this is actually one of the better parts of this episode. The song is fun, upbeat, catchy, and has some funny visuals to go with it. But it's not actually from the episode. Yes, along with Best Day Ever and Don't Be a Jerk, It's Christmas, this song was on an album before appearing in the show proper. In this case, the SpongeBob's Greatest Hit album. So yeah, one of the best things to come from this episode isn't even from this episode. There's also 3 back-to-back montages, one of Squidward sleeping, one of Krabs launching Plankton, and one of SpongeBob's unique decorating. There's also a 50s style Krusty Krab commercial. I like how it replicates the animation style of that era, and it does it pretty well in my opinion, and yeah, it's really fun. Also, Krabs claims that Krabby Patties are good for your health. Yeah, and KFC is a coffee shop. It then leads to Mr. Krabs' secret security room, where he left cameras all over Bikini Bottom, including Sandy's bathroom. creepy. After Plankton drops in, literally, SpongeBob is reminded of when Krabs told him the Krabby Patty's secret formula. They travel for days, weeks, months even, only to head back to the Krusty Krab. Anyway, they then cop out in telling us the formula, and Krabs from the flashback magically shows up out of the flashback. I assume the real Krabs is still finding a way out and has gone insane and died. And speaking of going insane, if you want to know more about the secret formula, please click the link in the description below to see my old SpongeBob month video on the topic. It's pretty old. I mean, it was so old, the show was still called Animated Theory back then. So, click it. Then get 3 more flashbacks. One of Squidward enjoying life before SpongeBob, even though the town still hates him, he sucks at clarinet, and Patrick is right next door. The next one is when SpongeBob first moved in. Also, since SpongeBob introduced himself here, this proves that they met as adults. Why is Camp Cola a thing again? Then SpongeBob tells everyone about the time him and Sandy got married. Did you hear that, TV Nerd? It finally happened! False alarm! It was just a play.
Boo! You stink!
Also, if Krabs and Patrick were at the play, why were they so shocked when SpongeBob told them earlier? Finally ending the flashbacks, they finally break out of the air vents and all the customers left. Mr. Krabs cries over it, and then SpongeBob sings a Christmas carol. Really? Anyway, the anniversary happens, Plankton gets his comeuppance, and more boring narration from Ricky Gervais. The end. Oh, but that's not all. There's more to this episode. A part that I intentionally overlooked. I'm of course talking about the Patchy segments. Now, throughout this marathon, we've seen that the Patchy segments were the saving grace of a bad episode. But not this time. In this episode, Patchy breaks into Nick Animation Studios in hope to get celebrities to appear in his SpongeBob 10th Anniversary Special. These segments are split into 2 halves. The first half is Patchy calling a bunch of celebrities that most of the kids watching this probably have no idea who they are. And I was one of those kids when this aired. I was 5. The scenes I want to focus on are the Tina Fey one and the Craig Ferguson one. With the Tina Fey one, Patchy has no idea who Tom Kenny is. Now, I understand what they were going for. It's ironic that Patchy doesn't know who Tom Kenny is, even though he is played by Tom Kenny. But this implies that Patchy is a grown man dressed as a pirate who thinks that a cartoon sponge is real. And later on during the Ferguson segment, Ferguson says he got a show going on and he got Robin Williams. So Patchy then laughs maniacally and then kidnaps Robin Williams. What? Patchy's no longer just a giddy SpongeBob fan. He is a freaking psychopath who dresses and acts like a pirate, thinks that a cartoon sponge is real, and kidnaps celebrities. But, to be fair, I think it's intentional. The way Robin Williams is reacting to Patchy is very unnatural, only if he knows he's in a bad situation. Plus, with Patchy's evil laughs, I'm pretty sure we're supposed to think he's crazy. Besides, everyone else around him is acting all like, the frick was that? So, I think it's intentional. So, Patchy manages to throw the special with one actual celebrity, Pink. But since SpongeBob didn't show up, he burges out of the studio to find him. The special guests are left aboard, so Pink sings a song, which is actually not that bad. And I think that scurvy is the best thing from this episode. Then Patchy heads out to the freaking ocean and gets
swallowed by a whale. That's the story of my life. Oh yeah! That's the story of my life.
Then Patchy plays the fake history of SpongeBob. I don't know why they didn't tell us the actual history of SpongeBob, which is far more interesting. But hey, at least we get to see the theme song, but with Squidward, Patrick, and Mr. Krabs. We then get to see an old-timey SpongeBob clip where everything's alive. I like this scene. It's fun and snappy and replicates the style very well. Then the film gets ruined and the whale sneezes out Patchy. He crashes back into the studio and dreams about meeting SpongeBob, only to immediately faint at the sight of him. Are you telling me that the scene that was built up from the start was nothing more than just a 15-second dream sequence? Bull crap. Then Abraham Lincoln shows him a SpongeBob plush, and then we return to the SpongeBob stuff that I already talked about. And that's Truth or Square. What are my thoughts? This is the worst thing the show ever put out by far. With a boring story, pointless flashbacks and songs, patchy segments that go on for way too long, and a complete lack of respect for the show is supposed to be celebrating, this is easily the worst SpongeBob special, the worst episode of Season 6, and even, in my opinion, the worst episode of SpongeBob SquarePants, period. You were a lot to get through, Truth or Square. I can say this was worth a solo review, don't you think? Anyway, next one will be back on schedule with multiple episodes per video. There was just so much to talk about with this one, it needed to be its own episode. Anyway, if you liked this video, be sure to leave a like and comment below. Let me know what you thought of Truth or Square. And also, be sure to hit that
marvelous
look and subscribe button and ring the bell right next to it to be notified on when future videos will be released, including the next installments in Movie Marathon Madness, the SpongeBob specials. And if you haven't already, please check out the previous installments in this series, linked in the description below. Now, with all that said, I'll see you later. Bye!